Repair Clinic encourages you to perform this procedure safely. In this video, we will show one or more of these icons to alert you when to use caution. Before you uninstall the carburetor from the Hedge trimmer, make sure the engine has cooled. Next, you should remove the wire and boot from the spark plug to prevent the engine from accidentally starting. Note the orientation of the primer return and intake hoses, then disconnect them from the carburetor. Unthread the knob to detach the air filter housing. Use a T27 torx bit to unthread the carburetor mounting bolts. Set the air filter base aside. Use a 10mm wrench to loosen the locking nut to detach the throttle cable. You can use a small flathead screwdriver to remove the cable retaining spring. Now fully detach the cable and set the carburetor on a sturdy surface. Use a small Phillips head screwdriver to unthread the screws, securing the primer bulb and primer body components. Lift off the primer bulb and plate, then unthread the middle screws securing the primer body. Remove the primer body and lift off the old pump diaphragm and gasket. Use a small flathead screwdriver to help remove the filter screen. Before you begin installing the new repair kit components, we recommend using carburetor cleaner to clean the carburetor ports. Now seat the new filter screen in the carburetor body. Align the new pump gasket on the primer body, followed by the pump diaphragm. Reposition the primer body on the carburetor and thread the middle screw. Realign the primer bulb and plate, and replace the remaining 4 screws. Next, unthread the metering plate mounting screws. Lift off the plate. Unthread the screws securing the pin, needle arm, and spring. Remove the old components. Again, use carburetor cleaner to clean the ports. Insert the new pin through the needle arm. Then align the needle on the arm. Align the new spring. Then position the needle and arm assembly and secure it with the screw. Remove the old gasket and diaphragm from the metering plate. Align the new diaphragm on the plate, followed by the gasket. Realign the metering plate on the carburetor and secure it with the screws. Now unthread the screws securing the throttle body to the carburetor. Detach the throttle body and remove the old roller. You can use pliers to help install the new roller by positioning it on the pin. Reposition the throttle body on the carburetor and rethread the screws to secure. Before you reinstall the carburetor, make sure the retaining spring is still on the throttle cable. Now realign the end of the cable in the swivel. Then position the retaining spring to secure the cable. Align the cable on the bracket and tighten the locking nut. Confirm that the mounting bolts have been inserted through the air filter base, and the intake gasket is in place on the isolator. Now align the carburetor on the bolts, then thread the bolts into the isolator and tighten. Reposition the air filter housing and thread the knob to secure. Connect the intake and primer return hoses to the appropriate ports on the carburetor. With the repair completed, reattach the wire and boot to the spark plug, and your hedge trimmer should be ready for use.